Are you nervous? Sophia asked me again, and I glared at her. What? Don't give me that look. Even a nun can tell what naughty thoughts are going inside your head, Sophia said, and I sighed. Sophia Turner, if you didn't get out of your friend's room this second, then I am going to make sure you are not able to walk for a week. I heard Caleb, Sophia's mate's voice, and I looked at Sophia, who was blushing profusely. I am sure you called him, Sophia accused me. And I shrugged. Well, you didn't leave me any choice either, I said. I sighed loudly. As soon as Sophia left, and I couldn't help but notice something weird now. That I was alone. Blake didn't come with me. The whole evening, he had acted the most distant to me than our whole life. Hey, Crystal, what happened to you? You have been awfully quiet today, I asked. But rather than her reply, I just heard her small whimper. At least talk to me, Crystal. How am I supposed to know what is wrong when you won't speak? I asked again, and she sighed. I felt something weird during the wedding, Amalthea. I can't feel his wolf anymore. I tried to look for Blake's wolf, but it felt like he wasn't there. They had blocked us, Crystal said, and I looked out of the balcony thoughtfully. Is something really wrong with Blake and his wolf? Come in, I said, when I heard a knock, not moving from the balcony. I was hoping for Blake to come and hug me from behind, like he always does. However, when I didn't feel his arms around me, I squinted my brows before turning around, seeing a girl standing in front of me. Along with Blake, I sighed. So that is the reason. He didn't want to look inappropriate in front of the stranger. Wait. A stranger? Who are you? I am sure you don't work in the mansion. Even if you are new, why did you enter our room in the middle of the night? Who hired you? I asked, confused. Why are you looking at him? Let me call the head maid. How can she hire someone and allow her to roam without proper instructions? It is not good for her. What if someone bullies her? She is not a maid. Blake cut me off. He didn't look too pleasant at the moment. What was going on here? If she isn't a maid, then what is she doing here? You have brought her to meet me. Is she a friend or distant sister? I asked, looking between the girl and Blake. As I took a step forward, I noticed how the girl in front of me winced slightly, and Blake held her hand, making me squint my brows. Why is she acting afraid of me? I asked, looking at Blake now. She is not a friend, and neither a distant sister, Blake said, and I looked at the hesitancy in his eyes. It was the same hesitancy he had shown when the priest asked to mark me and seal the bond. Why is he acting like this today? After our wedding. I thought before I tried to put two and two together. Blake was hesitant to mark me. He was hesitant when I talked about our wedding night. Then he brought a girl to our room. The girl doesn't belong to our pack and is neither a friend nor a sister. I don't want to think of things like that. I don't want to think negatively and ruin my mood. But why do I feel like this girl was? She is my mate, Blake completed my thoughts, and I looked at them in shock and horror, feeling the ground under my feet shaking as my legs trembled. His words pierced right through my heart, like wooden arrows. She is what? I asked again. Haha, Blake. Maybe my paranoia has gotten to my head. You are calling her your maid, and I am hearing mate. We will discuss her salary later. Send her away. We have waited for 7 years for this day, I said, and was about to walk towards him when the girl beside him whimpered, and he brought her close to his chest, making my heart skip a beat. Your mind is not tricking you, Amalthea. You heard it right. She is my mate, my fated mate, he said, and Crystal growled inside me. What? What are you talking about, Blake? You found your mate and now what? I whispered, my eyes brimming with tears, and I clenched my fists to control my raging emotions. Calm down, Amalthea. We can talk this through. Blake's tone was still as calm as ever, but how can he expect me to call down in a situation like this? For 7 years. I waited for this day for 7 years. And now that it is here, he brought his mate here and tells me everything is useless. How can he do this to me and expect me to calm down? Was my love, for so long, a joke to him? Taking a deep breath, I closed my eyes to control the hurt I was feeling before opening them again. Even if she is your fated mate, what is the use of bringing her to our wedding room? We have signed an agreement. You know what you need to do. What is this all ruckus for? I asked. And he looked at me cautiously. I can't reject her, Amalthea. Blake gritted his teeth, and I looked at him, my heart beating at a fast pace now. What the hell are you talking about? We signed a contract. Reject her this instant. I growled at him. Amalthea Jade! Don't you dare raise your voice at me. I am still your husband and the rightful alpha of the pack. Blake growled back at me, and my heart sank into the pit of my stomach. Darling, don't be mean to her. She is just being emotional. That girl placed her hand on Blake's chest in a provoking manner, and a few tears rolled down my eyes. Do you look at her, Amalthea? This is how a mate should act. She calms and soothes my anger. Something that you can't ever do because you are incapable. Blake scoffed. And every word he spoke was like a slap to my face for loving him. You will never understand what I am feeling right now. You don't have a mate after all. Blake scoffed, pulling that girl closer to himself and kissing her forehead, shattering my heart into tiny pieces. You. How could you do this to me, Blake? Why now after all these days? Why now? I broke down before turning away. This man, who has given me this pain, doesn't deserve to see my tears. Everyone should be in the PAX hall in 5 minutes. I growled through the mind link and noticed Blake wincing a bit before he looked at me. With a hard gaze. Amalthea, this is a matter between us. You don't need to bring everyone into this, Blake said, and I can't believe that he still has the audacity to defend this matter. Everyone definitely needs to be a part of it. It has always been the rule of this pack. Besides, you are the alpha of the pack now, Blake. Don't think impulsively, I said before walking towards the hall. Seeing the commotion in the hall, I gulped a bit. Though I acted strong inside the room, I wasn't sure about it anymore. My legs felt like giving up as my body shook with pain. I don't know if this was what rejection felt like, but in my heart, it felt like someone was stabbing me again and again, wiping the rogue tears that flew from my eyes. I took a deep breath before walking ahead in the hall. I don't know how humiliating this matter is going to become for the pack. Their late alpha's daughter just got married today. And they met a new alpha, and on the same night they were about to hear such a piece of news about their wedding. Amalthea, why did you call everyone in such a hurry? Are we under some kind of emergency? Is something wrong? Blake's father asked me with a knowing look, and for some reason it felt like he already knew about it. Your new alpha, Alpha Blake, has something to say. Alpha Blake, I said, and he looked at me with dark eyes as he gripped the girl's hand in a tighter protective grip. I am sorry. I know I should have informed everyone regarding this matter before the wedding, but I have no intention of leaving Luna Jade. Thus I didn't tell her beforehand. I didn't want to spoil our day. I thought she would understand the matter, but it looks like she is more interested in creating a fuss than having a peaceful night. Blake said. I looked towards the ceiling, trying my best to control my tears that were wanting to fall. Wow, according to him, I am fussing. He brings his mate that he can't reject, and I am fussing. What is the matter, Alpha Blake? Caleb, who was also my gamma, said. And everyone nodded their heads. I found my mate, my fated mate, Blake sighed, and everyone gasped before looking at me, as if waiting for some kind of reaction from me. I don't see why there is a problem with that. According to the agreement, reject your mate. That's what both of you had signed and vowed to each other. Why are you extending this thing and making it harder for yourself and the poor girl? Sophia asked, and Blake glared at her. I can't reject her, Blake said. And once again, everyone looked at me. Can I know the reason why you can't reject her? You didn't hesitate to sign the agreement, and it was signed in front of the pack, my late parents and your parents. And before that, I want to know when you came to know she is your mate. I asked, and he looked away. It has been a week since I found her. I met her when I went to the southern areas. I can't reject her because she has already suffered so much in her previous pack. You guys won't believe how pitiful she was when I found her. Blake brought that girl closer to him. She had wounds all over her body. She was barely holding herself alive. I can't reject her and have her suffer the mate rejection pain too. Her wolf won't be able to take it. She will die. And I don't want that. I am sure you are not too inhumane to want that either, Blake said, and I looked at him, a feeling of self-mockery settling in me. Her wolf would die because of the rejection. What about me? Were my 7 years of love a joke to you? Why don't you think about my wolf? I asked, feeling sad, and Blake looked away. Not answering me. So, now what? You guys took your oaths today only. Are you going to reject our Luna? Caleb asked, and it brought tears to my eyes. There is nothing like that. Luna Jade will still be my rightful wife. What I am trying to say is I can't reject my mate. My wolf wants her. If I reject my mate after meeting her, then he is going to be heartbroken and will never be as powerful as he is. Do you think an alpha with a broken wolf will be able to rule the pack? Blake reasoned, and the more he was speaking, the more tears dropped on the floor as I looked down to hide my pain. Why? Why did you hide it from me? We could have stopped the wedding if you had mentioned this earlier. Why? I screamed in pain, my wolf howling along with me. I am sorry, Amalthea. I know I wronged you, Blake said, and I snarled at him when he tried to walk toward me, making him step back. Luna Jade, I know I have become a hindrance in your love life, but believe my mate. I mean Alpha Blake, we really can't leave each other. I can't live without him. Without him, I will die. I love him so much. I know you are a chosen mate, but can you give him the same love as a fated mate? The Omega said to me in her overly sweet voice, and I got on my knees, closing my eyes. So all your love and Wolf's pleasure and power is worthy. But it doesn't matter when it comes to me. I asked no one in particular. Thea, Sophia said, looking at me with sympathy, and I growled at her, a warning to maintain her distance from me. If you can't reject her because you don't want to make your wolf weak, I guess we have nothing to talk about. I stood from my place, looking Blake in the eyes. Since you can't reject your mate and be loyal to me like the contract says, I guess there is no reason for me to follow the contract and let you have the alpha's position. Right? I looked at him, and Blake widened his eyes. You wouldn't dare, Blake growled at me. Do you want to test me? I snarled back at him. Stop it. You don't need to fight my mate for it. I thought Luna Jade was a sensible person, but I can see that you can't let a weakling like me have happiness. The girl suddenly said, and I raised my brows at her. However, what shocked me was that her words were changing the expression of my pack members too. Were they also blaming me? After everything I have done for them, I can't let it happen. I don't want my mate to be stripped of his position. My love for him is not the selfish kind. I won't let him suffer for my love. If my mate rejected me, I am going to die anyway. But I don't want to die as a rejected wolf. It is better if I take my life myself. It will be much better, that girl said, and before anyone could react, she took out a dagger from her dress and sliced her wrist, making everyone widen their eyes. Linda! Blake growled in anguish before picking her in his arms and running out of the pack mansion. Pain, humiliation, betrayal, hatred, helplessness, anguish. All these feelings combined can't even describe how I am feeling at the moment. Looking ahead, I kept running, changing back into my human form. I don't know how long it has been since I've been running. Was it an hour? 2 hours? I don't know. All I know is that I had never felt so helpless in my whole life. They took away the only hope of my happiness from me without a care. Can I still be the Luna? What is the use of this title if I can't have the love of the person I loved the most? Why did this happen to me, Moon Goddess? You took away my mom from me, then you took away my dad. Blake was my only hope for survival, and now you took him too. What did I ever do to you? I cried in anguish as I fell to the ground, realizing I was in front of my parents' graves. Dad, you only wanted Blake to take over the alpha position because you thought everyone would challenge an alpha female, and it would weaken the pack. Are you happy now? If I would have been the alpha right now, I would have ordered him to reject his mate, but I was never enough because I was a female. No. Are you happy seeing me shattered like this? I asked while looking at the sky. Closing my eyes, I bit my lips as I felt like my heart was slowly breaking into pieces I will never be able to collect. I was bleeding without any wounds. My throat felt clogged, and my heart dropped into the pit of my stomach, making it hard for me to breathe. I was becoming anxious. All the possibilities about the future felt like they were erased by someone. Amalthea, where are you? It has been more than an hour since you left. Linda has finally gained consciousness. I heard Sophia's worried voice through the mind link. Running straight towards the hospital, I felt contemplated when I didn't see Blake there. However, I didn't have to think for long as Linda turned to me and smiled. Look, who is here? The almighty Luna Jade. But, are you really a Luna anymore? I mean, as far as I remember, Blake is the alpha now, and he has chosen me. So I am Luna here, right? Linda scoffed, her gaze not wavering from me even for a second. Blake said she was an Omega, but judging from her energy, she was definitely not an Omega. Why are you doing all this? Would you be really happy being called a second woman all her life? Blake has married me, so no matter what you do or are, I will always be his first one. I tried to reason with her. It was a sick move. Honestly, the Amalthea when her parents were alive would have never done that. I am sure of it. Begging and reasoning with the person who took away my happiness? I know I was stooping low now, but I didn't have any choice. I was at my wit's end right now. I wanted to do anything I could to save my relationship. Why are you acting like this, Luna Jade? I know you think I came between you and Blake, but don't you think you are wrong? I am his fated mate. He is supposed to be with me for eternity. You were the one who has come between us. You are the third person between us, the second woman, and in local language, the name slut and a house wrecker, she said. And Crystal growled inside me, her words feeling like a slap on my face. How dare you provoke me like this? I growled at her, and she whimpered at my voice. Please don't act like this, Luna Jade. You are scaring me now. I am sure my mate, the alpha of this pack, won't like it. I don't want you to get humiliated in front of your pack again, she said in her lotus voice, and before I could understand what was happening, she suddenly tore off the bandages on her wrists, making me widen my eyes. What is she doing? Luna Jade, please don't do this to me. I am sorry. I wanted to die myself, but I failed. Please, for the sake of the alpha of the pack, don't do this. It is hurting. If you want to kill me, just do it. Don't torture me like this. Linda fell to her knees before hitting her head on the ground and scratching her arms, making me look at her in horror. Why was she doing all this? What was this all about? Is she mad or My thoughts were interrupted when Blake opened the door with a loud bang, and before I could do anything, she tugged my hair, making me swat her away, the pressure being a bit too intense as she fell a few feet away from me. "Linda!" he shouted before looking at me accusingly. "You crossed your limits, Amalthea Jade!" Blake growled at me as his eyes glowered, representing his wolf. "This can't be a coincidence. She framed me." "Blake, I didn't do anything. She is nothing like you think she is. It's all her plans. She isn't even an Omega. I bet she is tricking you by acting pitiful. Believe me, she did it." "Oh, cut it out. I knew you were competitive, but I didn't know you could be this cruel, Amalthea." Blake seethed at me. Taking my hand in his, he pulled me all over to the hall, where everyone had been since earlier. And he threw me in the center, making me snarl as people took a step away from me. "Your Luna Jade today crossed her limits and attacked a member of the pack without any physical provocation from the member. I am sure everyone knows what the punishment is for it," Blake said, and I froze. "Guards! Circle her so that she doesn't run away. I am the alpha of the pack, and I don't want people to think that people close to me can get away even after breaking rules," Blake said, his voice devoid of any emotions. Punishment. How hard his heart has gotten against me for him to mention punishment so easily. I just didn't reject my mate, and I don't see why there is such a fuss about it. Luna Jade here tried to kill the alpha's mate today. I am still willing to let her go with this if she apologizes to my mate. And if she isn't willing to apologize, then as per the rules of the pack, she will be whipped 20 times, Blake said. And I looked at him in mere amazement. Is he the same guy who used to tell me he would never let someone even touch me? Is he the same guy to whom I gave my 7 years of youth? Does anyone have any objections? Blake asked everyone, and to my utmost horror, all the pack members that I thought were my family took a step back, not saying anything. This was my pack, but they have accepted Blake just like that. Have they forgotten who I am? Just because I am a female, I am being ridiculed like this. You must be out of your mind, Blake. Amalthea is your wife. You broke the agreement by not rejecting your mate. Yet you expect her to accept your mate and respect her. Didn't you know about these things earlier? Or is it because you were eyeing the position of the alpha of the pack that you waited till the wedding before showing your true colors? Sophia growled, and I froze when I realized how accurate her words sounded. Sophia Turner, whether I waited or I conspired, I am still your alpha. I won't think twice about snapping your neck if you talk to me like that again, Blake said, and I looked at him, feeling more and more shocked. Sophia, stay out of this, I said to Sophia. The man I loved is against me. The pack that belonged to me is against me, so what do I even have to fight for? Sophia is pregnant. I don't want her to stress and harm her baby because of me. I noticed how everyone was looking at me, as if waiting for my answer, and I smiled. What do you think, Crystal? I asked her, and she sighed weakly. You know my answer. It is the same as yours, she said, and I nodded. I am Amalthea Jade, the daughter of Thea and Matthew Jade, have never bowed down in front of anyone, and I will not apologize for a mistake I didn't even commit. Make it 50, the whips. However, neither Alpha Blake nor any of his people should touch me, I said, looking at all the pack members, who bowed their heads in shame. Amalthea, don't be so hard on yourself, Sophia cried as she hugged me, and I shook my head. Caleb, do it, I said, and he whimpered before pleading with me with his eyes, my hard stare making him nod dejectedly. Caleb? No, you can't do that to my sister, Caleb. I will forever hate you if that stick even touched her skin, Sophia cried as she held his legs, and I looked at her feeling pity taking over me. I looked into Blake's eyes, his quivering eyes, making me smile. I and my wolf have never bowed to anyone, but I was ready to make an exception today to save our relationship. but judging from the look in Blake's eyes, this relationship isn't worth saving. Start. 1, I growled, and as soon as I said that, I felt a piercing pain in my back when the stick hit me, making me take a sharp breath. Again, 2. I growled as he hit me again. No! Sophia shouted as she struggled against Sasha and Maria. 10. 19. Amalthea, don't be so hard on yourself. Just apologize to Linda, and we are even, Blake said. And I scoffed as I touched my back, my wolf whimpering when I saw a little blood on my hand. It's just a little blood, Crystal. I can bear it, I told her before closing my eyes as I tried my hardest to control my tears from falling. What are you waiting for? Continue 20, I growled at Caleb. Caleb, I will forever hate you. Sophia growled, and I sighed before closing my eyes as I opened them again and looked at Blake. 31. 40. 49. 50. Growling in pain. I fell forward before supporting myself on my hands and panting heavily. Leave me! Sophia growled threateningly, and I looked at Sasha and Maria before nodding as Sophia rushed and slid in front of me, hugging me as she cried, making my eyes brim with tears as I felt pain all over my body. My body was aching all over, but more than that, my heart was in pain. If Uncle Matthew and Lunathea would have been here, you would have never felt this justice, Sophia said as she looked at Blake's father, who fisted his hands, and I shook my head at her. He probably knew everything and chose to make an exception. It was useless talking about it now. The damage was done. Stop it, I said to her before smiling, feeling less hateful toward myself now. The heroine is currently facing a difficult situation and needs your support. Please leave your words of encouragement for her in the comments section. I am sorry, Luna Jade. Please forgive me, Caleb said as he dropped to his knees in front of me, regret written all over his face, and I smiled. You just followed my orders, Caleb. I am grateful to have a person like you by my side, who knows his responsibilities, I said before, trying to stand up. However, because of the excess pain in my body, I stumbled, and Caleb immediately held me in his arms, making Blake growl as he held my hand. But before he could pull me towards him, I snapped his hand away. Don't you dare touch me with your filthy hands, I growled at Blake, and he took a step back as Crystal inched to take over. You might be the alpha, but I hope I don't need to remind you who is the stronger alpha here. If not for my father, who thought a female leader is a threat to the pack's safety, I don't think you would have been where you are. With how you are acting at the moment, I bet if you would have been even a part of the pack, I said, looking him straight in the eyes before taking a deep breath. Letting Caleb help me up, I smiled when both Sophia and Caleb held me together in a protective stance. I am Althea Jade. Congratulate Alpha Blake on finding his fated mate. I wish you a lifetime of happiness. Since you got this pack in the position of the alpha after marrying me, which was my father's decision, I won't revoke that. But don't expect me to pretend to be your wife. I forbid you from any husband duties that you might have felt you are obliged to do, I said, walking towards Blake and hugging him, who stiffened against me. This is for all the betrayal you gave me. I embrace it all. I will leave this pack. I know you will run this pack smoothly. That is what my father wanted, and judging from everyone here, that's what these guys want too. If anything happened to my pack, I won't think twice before taking it back, I said to everyone before nodding at Caleb, who brought my luggage down. Amalthea, what is the meaning of this? Wait, Caleb. Why are you bringing her luggage? Are you going on any vacation? Well, it is the right decision at the moment. You need a break from everything. No. Sophia started rambling with tears in her eyes, and I sighed in my heart before holding her hand to stop her. Sophia, I am not going on any kind of vacation. I am just leaving, I said, and she shook her head. You must be kidding, Amalthea. There is no way in hell you are leaving us like this. This is a joke. I forbid myself to think that you don't love me either, Sophia said as she kept shaking her head, and I pulled her for a hug. Sophia, listen to me, I am not going forever. Though I say I can take back my pack from Blake, it is not that easy. If I challenge him, then lots of our people will die in this bloodshed, and I don't want innocent lives to be at stake because of us. My father wanted Blake to become the alpha after marrying me. There was no such clause that mating me was a necessity. That is why, even if I don't remain his wife now, we got married, and he got the position. I told Sophia through the mind link, and she tightened her arms around me. You are 1 month pregnant? No. I promise I will be the one to name your child when it is born. You know I always fulfill my promises, don't you? I told her, and she took a deep breath before nodding. Amalthea, you don't really have to leave like this. We can work this out. I am telling you. I just can't reject my mate because my wolf will get weaker without her. Blake said, and Linda whimpered by his side, making him hold her arms protectively. And seeing this drama in front of me, I could only scoff. Yeah, I totally believe you, I said before, looking at the rest of the pack. I am sure all of you believe in your alpha Blake. I am sorry for acting so cowardly at the moment, but I hope everyone will understand why I took this decision, I said before taking my suitcase and walking out of the mansion. Luna Jade, wait up. I heard Caleb shout from behind me, and I turned to look at him with a sigh as he ran to me before hugging me. I was almost near the pack borders now. Caleb, if you are here to pursue me into not going because of Sophia, then let me tell you, it is futile. I am not. I just wanted to give you this letter, Luna Jade. Your father gave it to me a few minutes before he died. He said, I shall never read it and shall give it to you if you ever think of leaving Blake and the pack, Caleb said, and I squinted my brows. What is this supposed to mean? Dad wrote this note a few minutes before his death. But why would he ask Caleb to give me the note when I think of leaving Blake and the pack? Does that mean he already had a premonition that my relationship with Blake won't work out? And if I had never decided to leave either, would he have not given me this letter? Thank you for holding on to it for so long and keeping it safe for me, I said before turning around, and he held my hand to stop me. Aren't you going to read it? He looked at me cautiously, and I chuckled at his curious gaze. You are looking like a curious cat right now, I said, and he smiled helplessly. Opening the letter, I squinted my brows as the first thing I noticed was how shaky the words looked, as if written with trembling hands. Dear Thea, I will call you Thea today because you are so much like your mom. There will be a time in life when you might loathe me for my decision to make Blake the alpha. But you should know it is for your best. You, my dear, are not so simple. There is something about you that, as I am about to die, I should let you know. However, before doing so, I want to apologize to you on behalf of Thea and me, as we kept this a secret from you for so long. Your dreams aren't just nothing, baby. Every dream you see has a meaning. Honestly, I never wanted to let you go and have you find out about these dreams. Your mom protected you well from the world you guy belonged to, and after your mom, I thought I will be able to protect you too. But now that Antonio and Azura are coming for me, I don't think I can do that. Blake, he isn't a trustworthy guy. He can be a good alpha, and I believe he will do great ruling the pack. But I don't believe he can rule your heart too. If you are reading this letter, it already means he has broken your trust or your heart, and you are thinking of leaving the pack. It is a good decision. Leave the pack because this isn't where you belong. Find yourself, my baby. I know my death is near. I have heard some people talking about an upcoming rogue attack. It means someone has been conspiring against us. Protect yourself from this dark world, baby. Your mother's death wasn't a simple rogue attack either. And if I die today, remember that your parents were murdered and not martyred. We both love you. To my favorite person in the world, from your sorry Dad, MJ. I read the letter again and again to see if I missed anything, and after doing it 4 times as my lips quivered at the thought of someone conspiring against them, I looked at Caleb, who was still looking at me with a curious gaze. Judging from how my father mentioned something about my powers that only my mother and no one knew of, I am sure he wants me to keep them hidden from the world, which means I can't let anyone get their hands on the letter. It says that he heard someone talking about the rogue attack even before it happened. My parents didn't die because they were saving the pack, but they died because they fell victim to someone's conspiracy. I told him through the mind link, and he widened his eyes as he looked at me. What are you going to do about it, Luna Jade? He asked me, and I smiled coldly. What do you expect from your Luna Jade? Vengeance. Find answers and get back what was originally mine. That is the plan, I told him, and he nodded his head, looking at me with respect and pride, making me smile. Take care of Sophia for me. I promised her I will be the one to name her child. Nothing should happen to her. Stay loyal to Pac more than you stay loyal to Blake. It is going to be hard for you guys too, I said, and he nodded. We will bear with it, as long as we know our Luna Jade is with us, Caleb said before, bowing on his knees in respect, and I smiled. I will always love you guys like my family, Caleb. Tell Sophia she means the world to me, I said before turning around, crumbling the letter in my hand. Once out of the pack, I fell to the ground, bawling my eyes as the content of the letter, the events of tonight, and the memories came rushing to my head, making tears fall from my eyes. Shh! Amalthea. No matter who leaves you, Crystal, the wolf of the world promises to never leave your side, Crystal said, promising me something for the first time, and an ear-piercing thunder echoed in the sky, making me shudder as the ground not far away from me was struck by lightning. It looks like this lightning is marking my new journey with this world. The journey which is filled with thorns. I thought before taking a deep breath. It has been 1 month and 17 days since I left the pack. And just like a wildfire spreading in the forest, the news of what happened in our Callisto pack, including the betrayal I suffered, how I took the 50 whips, and how I left the pack, spread among the werewolf world. Well, it isn't exactly something one can be proud of, but I am handling it just fine. Since I am almost a rogue now, many things have changed since I left the pack. Some alphas respect me for my decisions on that night and step forward to help me. But just like there are 2 faces of everything, positive and negative, I often suffer belittling mockery from people who bask in the happiness that I got betrayed like that. My matter and personal life have become a topic to joke about during kitty parties for many Lunas. However, I am glad that they still look down as soon as I walk in front of them. Though everyone knows that my marriage with Blake has been ruined and I have rejected being with him, people still call me Luna Jade because of the alpha blood in my veins. It would be disrespectful to call me by my name, and since Blake is the alpha, they can't call me that. Raising my head in the air, I sniffed the air, the cutlery in my hands stiffening as I closed my eyes. I said, "Get the Lycan, bitch. We don't always get a chance to hold a Lycan in our hands. Besides, she is weak at the moment. All her energy is drained. I bet she will be able to put up a fight. I am sure the boss will be extra happy today when we will offer him a Lycan whore to color his nights." A red-haired guy chuckled darkly. "Stay away from me." "No, please. I am pregnant. I know rogues and Lycans always had a feud. But please have mercy on my child. He didn't do any harm to you guys," the girl cried as she ran for her life. "Ha! Why should we show mercy to your child? Your child is going to become a loathsome Lycan just like you. It is better he dies without even being born rather than dying after being born. This way, it will be less painful for him. Now be a good mama and come to us," the blonde-haired guy said. "No, please. Somebody help me. I beg you. I opened my eyes before gasping. Vision. It was another vision. This was another strange thing that I started to feel. Apart from having only horrifying dreams, I have started to have visions of things that will happen in the future. Judging from the place, I am sure it is the forest near the Canticle Pack. I don't know why I have these visions, and if they are a part of the powers that Dad mentioned or not. But this sudden urge to protect the one who is in danger is something I haven't been able to figure out yet. It is obvious to know more about the people, or should I say rogues who attacked my parents and killed them. I will have to mingle with the rogues to find links. But every time I see a vision, I end up killing a few rogues. If this thing continues, then how am I going to befriend rogues to get my answers? And judging from how things are going, I am only going to create enemies out of them. The target is to reach the rogue head by hook or by crook. Maybe if I kill so many rogues, he will come looking for me. I sighed as my legs took me to the forest, while I barely kept my bag and other accessories intact. Damn, does this have to happen here only? I just went shopping today. I grumbled annoyingly before stomping my legs as I slowed my steps, not wanting to alert anyone. I looked around myself before raising my gaze as I tried to pinpoint anything that I could remember from my vision. Nothing here looks familiar. Maybe I am still not exactly where I should be. I thought before walking further deeper into the forest. Taking a deep breath as walking randomly wasn't helping. I closed my eyes as I tried to listen to any kind of commotion around me in the forest. Dear nature, please help me save the innocent. I mumbled before concentrating on the voices around me. After what felt like an eternity, I finally started to hear some faint words as the wind blew past me. Boss, we have got a good catch today. I can't believe we got so lucky today. I heard a distant voice. I know, right? Get the whore here. I want her down on her knees begging for mercy. It is high time we make these royal Lycans realize what we rogues can do. I heard another voice. Royal Lycans. Does that mean the girl from the vision belongs to the royal palace? Damn, I have to help a royal. I just have a bad premonition about them and always try to stay clear of them. Why does the moon goddess have to do this to me? I thought before gritting my teeth. Standing here and cursing your luck isn't going to help us. Get your feet moving so that we can get over it. I am hungry again. That pizza didn't do anything good to my hunger. Crystal grumbled like a lazy wolf she has become. And I sighed. You have been enjoying this rogue thing a lot since I can't change much and let people know about my powers to alert the packs and rogues wherever I go. I grumbled back, and she just whined in pleasure, making me scoff as I walked towards from where the wind blew, and I heard the voice earlier. As I reached the place, I looked at the scene in front of me, and as much as I hated the royal Lycans, it won't be wrong to say that my blood boiled with fury as I saw the rogue with blonde hair dragging the Lycan female by her hair as she begged for mercy with her hands covering her womb in a protective gesture. Please, I beg you. My baby, it is hurting, she cried as she roared thunderously. But because of her low energy, it was obvious to the rogues she won't be able to do anything to them. I saw how the female Lycan was forced onto her knees, making her growl as she looked at the red-haired rogue in front of her before snarling. The red-haired rogue slapped the female Lycan, and she fell to the ground, her hands not leaving her womb even for a second. Seeing how desperate and helpless she looked, my wolf whimpered, and I rolled my eyes. I know. I am going to kill them for this. Don't whine like this, I said. I was already thinking about saving her from these bunch of rogues, but what happened next made my blood boil. The red-haired rogue unzipped his pants before making the Lycan female sit on her knees again. You want me to leave your baby unharmed, right? Give me a nice blowjob. And if I like it, I might actually think about it, the red-haired rogue said. And this was my limit. Taking out the wolfsbane, laced silver dagger from my pants, I threw the dagger at the red-haired guy, making him growl in pain as he fell to the ground. Since I was standing at the 180 degrees angle, I couldn't aim for his heart, but I am sure the silver must be hurting like anything. You bitch! Who are you? It looks like we got not one but two whores to play with tonight, the blonde rogue said, and I scoffed. First, stop calling us, especially me, a whore. If my wolf wakes up and hears that, she will tear you apart without leaving flesh, because she eats like a hungry beast, and second, who am I? You'll know about it when you'll be on the verge of your death, which I paused before throwing the second dagger straight to his heart. Is now, I said before, looking at the rest of the rogues, who looked at me cautiously when the main rogues of the group were down like this. What? Are you afraid of a female rogue now? Don't you have balls from what I was seeing earlier? You guys were quite interested in showing your balls earlier. You were showing quite a strength and manliness to a helpless Lycan. What happened now? I provoked them. And as expected, the rogues growled, making me smirk as I started fighting them. Fighting a bunch of rogues was nothing to me anymore. The first time I fought 10 rogues, I was almost beaten because I was inexperienced with their dirty ways. But now that I am myself a rogue, shouldn't I use some of them? Kicking and punching the rogues one by one, I started piling their bodies one above the other, before punching the last rogue, leaving him alive. When somebody, or should I say the rogue head, will ask you who did this, then tell him it was LJ. I whispered to him before kicking him, and leaving him alive as I burnt the rest of them, scrunching my nose as the smell of burning flesh flared my nostrils. I turned around and looked at the wounded female Lycan before sighing. Will you not be able to go on your own? Shall I escort you to the borders? I asked her with a bit of edginess, and she looked at me with a grateful expression. You have no idea how grateful I am for your help today, she said, and I nodded. Let me see if I can get a cab to come over here, I said, and she nodded before taking a deep breath as she leaned on the tree, making me huff. You have no idea how grateful I am for your help today, the female Lycan said again, and I gave her a fake smile. Oh, I surely know about it. You have made it quite clear in the last 15 minutes. You have said something like this over 5 times already, I said, and she looked at me shocked. I did. Well, I just want you to know I am grateful for your help, she said enthusiastically, and I rolled my eyes. Now I'll show my brother that not all girls are useless, that not all girls are selfish, mean, and rude bitches. I'll ask him to meet you so that he can know how some girls can save others without thinking about their lives. I am sure he will be shocked to meet a girl like you since all the girls he meets are eyeing some materialistic desire, she said before clapping, and I have to give it to her. For a girl who was being tortured just 20 minutes ago, she was quite positive about life. I am not meeting anyone, miss. Scarlet, I am Scarlet Grey, she smiled, and I nodded awkwardly. So, are you a Scarlet? Or are you a Grey? I asked, and she looked at me wide-eyed before bursting out laughing. Oh my God, you are the first person who said that to me. In fact, I used to fight with my parents a lot regarding this thing. I am sure many would have thought the same thing, but no one dared to say that to me on my face because of my royalty. Damn, I already like you, she said, and I sighed. As I was saying, Miss Scarlet, I am not meeting any brother or any royal member. As a matter of fact, I will drop you at the royal palace and take my leave. That is the most help I can do, I said, and the light in her eyes dimmed a bit, making me feel sad. Don't do that now. I am a sucker for girls' tears. If she becomes sad like this, then I'll really be tempted to go to the royals, and nothing good out of it has ever come for any werewolf. She might treat me well because I saved her life, but everyone knows that werewolves and Lycans don't exactly get along well. This girl Scarlet might be a defective piece, given how chirpy she is. But I bet the rest of them are anything but like this. I would rather fight a group of rogues than sit with the royals and have thank you dinner with them. Why would you say that? Do you think I am a nuisance, Or is it true that werewolves hate us Lycans? Is it because you are feeling pressured by being near me? She asked, and I wanted to scoff at her last question. Pressured near her. I am an alpha by blood. Does she really think she can pressurize the alpha of one of the strongest packs? I thought before sighing. It is not what you are thinking. First, we werewolves don't hate Lycans. Second, if you haven't smelt it, I am a rogue, and I hate going to packs or, in your case, kingdoms, I said before looking away. Your eyes, why is there so much sadness in them? Your eyes look like the eyes of a person who got betrayed by her world. Scarlet suddenly said, her chirpiness totally gone. That isn't something you should bother with, I said before, taking a deep breath, and she placed her hands on mine before squeezing them gently. I know that you saved me, and you might even consider me a pathetic excuse for a Lycan. I don't think any of that. I know you are pregnant. Using strength to fight the rogues could have harmed your baby, I said, and she looked at me with raised brows. I am sure she is thinking, how do I know that? I heard you begging them as I was passing from there, I said, and she nodded. After what felt like an eternity, but was only an hour with her talking constantly, we were finally standing in front of the enormous gates of the Lycan's palace. Please come. It is my humble request. At least help me get to the stairs, she said to me with a pleading expression, and knowing all too well that she was just making that up so that I would enter the palace with her. I rolled my eyes at her. Fine, but when I say I am leaving, I don't want any Lycan making things hard for me. Let's not start another fight between werewolves and Lycans. Yeah, I said. And she grinned like a kid, making me sigh as I helped her out of the cab. Ouch! She winced as a few tears fell down her eyes, making me look at the large wounds on her ankle that were probably healing slowly because of her pregnancy. You are seriously troublesome, I said before bending and picking her bridal style, making her squeal as she looked at me, shocked. Don't look at me like I am your knight in shining armor if you don't want to walk all the way to the stairs of the palace in this condition, I said, and she immediately dropped her gaze, making me sigh. It was a good thing I paid the fare beforehand, or it would have been difficult like this. Thank you for the safe ride, brother, I said to the cab driver, who nodded and left. It was a good thing I called a werewolf cab driver. Walking ahead, I looked straight, not minding the gazes of the people passing us. I won't say it was easy. She was quite heavy and I don't want to be rude, but I felt like I was carrying a large wooden log. Standing in front of the stairs that lead to the main gate of the palace, I looked at them hesitantly, as beads of sweat appeared on my forehead. Charles, suddenly Scarlet said, and I looked up, my gaze meeting with a guy who didn't look like the king, making me sigh in relief. Scarlet, what the hell happened to you? Why are you so heavily wounded? Didn't you go shopping? How did you end up like this? And that to be with a mere werewolf, he asked, and I wanted to growl at him for saying that. Who is he? I asked Scarlet, and she smiled. He is our beta, she said, and I scowled. Hey, can't you see your royal member is in trouble? What are you doing over there? Enjoying the show. Take her from my hands, I said, and it was as if he came out from some kind of trance. He hurried down before picking Scarlet carefully. Since I didn't know where to go, I followed them to what looked like the medical room of the palace. We will deal with this matter, Scarlet. They have crossed their boundaries today. We will make sure they pay for every scratch on your body, Charles said, and I scoffed. And the werewolf who just dared to scoff in front of me, you are? He asked, his eyes turning a shade darker. The one who saved me from the humiliation and saved mine and my baby's life today. The one who finished all those rogues alone, Scarlet said, and I sighed. Can you shut up with your praises? I feel like I have some kind of great personality. Anyway, as you had asked, I entered your so-called palace and stayed for over 10 minutes already. Since I am assured you are safe, this mere werewolf will take her to leave. I said, while looking at Charles, who looked at me apologetically. That is not what I meant earlier, miss. Please wait till our king is back. He will be thrilled to meet the person who saved her today, Charles said, and I smirked. Who are you kidding, Beta Charles? A Lycan can never be thrilled to see a werewolf. We are the lower species, remember. Besides, I am not that thrilled to meet your king, I said, and was about to turn around when Charles held my hand. Please, stay. We would like to compensate you for all the help. You can ask for whatever you want. We will make sure we fulfill it if it is in our hands, Charles said. And I chuckled darkly. I don't want any kind of compensation. I did it out of humanity. If she wouldn't be pregnant, and if she wouldn't be a girl, I wouldn't have bothered with helping a Lycan. So please don't think I am someone who is after your so-called compensation. Take care of yourself, Scarlet. Go out with someone trustworthy next time if it is important. I'll be taking my leave now, I said. But you didn't tell me your name. At least give me your name. That is the least you can do, please. I would like to name my baby after your name, Scarlet said. And I smiled. Thea, I said before looking at Charles one last time. And leaving the palace, I hadn't thought I would have to go through so much. Even after helping her, walking out of the palace, I strolled through some stalls in the nearby market, trying to see if something catches my eye. It was a good thing. I had sent my things to the hotel I was staying at before boarding the cab to the kingdom, or I would have been carrying the load all around. As I passed through the stalls randomly, I stepped back when something shiny caught my eyes. Seeing a particular jade bracelet that had golden and light blue emeralds around it, I stopped at the artificial jewelry shop. How much does this cost, sir? I asked the owner, who looked up and smiled at me. You are such a beautiful young lady. It will suit you. Take this, he said, and I shook my head. I can't take it for free, sir, I said, and he chuckled. Sometimes the person doesn't choose the jewelry chooses the person. It caught your eyes when it caught no one's eyes in my 20 years of business. Keep it, please, I insist, the man said as he pushed the bracelet in my hand, and I looked at it. How is it possible that no one ever tried to buy it? Wearing the bracelet in my hand, I stumbled backward, shocked by the light from the golden stones. Oh, sorry. I was just taking out the mirror. I didn't mean it to reflect, the man said. And I shook my head. That is okay, sir. I was taken off guard. Nothing to worry about, I said, and he nodded. Smiling at him one last time, I walked for some distance. My gaze stuck to the bracelet. Wait, if he isn't taking money for the bracelet, I can always buy more items from his shop without bargaining. Damn, why didn't I think of it earlier? Turning around, I walked back to the market, squinting my brows when I didn't find the jewelry stall from earlier. Hey, there was a jewelry stall here. No. The man with the blue turban kind of thing was selling artificial pieces of jewelry. Did he go already? I asked the nearby stall owner, and he shrugged, making me squint. Did the man leave already? It looks like I am indebted now. I thought before sighing as I walked out of the market, a sudden large growl making me shudder. Looks like some Lycan is going mad. I thought before raising my hand to stop the cab so that I could go back to my hotel. AN. Please keep supporting. I am sure I told everyone that no extra charges would be taken from the vendors who are coming from across borders to sell their materials. Why am I hearing that we still ask them to pay 30% of their revenue? I asked as I walked through the market. The thing is, the finance minister said this way, we will be able to have more revenues for us. They have no choice but to come here if they want to sell their materials to the largest market in the world, and we should take advantage of it. The guard said, and I gritted my teeth when I realized it was one of my man's faults again. Taking a deep breath to calm my anger, I was about to ask the guard to start a new system. When I smelt it, the most attractive scent I've ever smelt in my whole life. Mate! Kyle growled inside me, and I froze in my steps, clenching my fists as I turned around in the direction from where the smell was coming. We don't have a mate, Kyle. We can't have one. Don't you remember? All females out there are like this, selfish and rude. Remember how our mother left us because she had an affair with someone else? Remember how our only girlfriend Jennifer left us when my father said I won't be the king out of anger? I am sure our mate is one of those girls. Don't keep any expectations, I said to him, and he shook his head. Follow mate. Find mate, he said before releasing an involuntary growl to show his dissatisfaction. Kyle, I shouted angrily, and he snarled back at me. Fine, I said before, walking towards where the smell was coming from. However, after some distance, the smell faded, and I looked around me, finding no source of her. This is strange. I am sure she must have smelt my scent too. Did she not know I was the Lycan king? How dare she ignore me? Is she playing hard to get, or is it she is afraid of me? I thought before squinting my brows. King Augustus, Charles called. He said something happened to Miss Scarlet, and she is heavily wounded, the guard said, and I raised my brows slightly before rushing towards the kingdom. Who dared to hurt my precious sister? I am going to shred them into pieces with my bare hands. Charles, where is she? I roared as soon as I entered the palace. She is in the medical room, resting, he said, and I rushed to the medical room. Scarlet, I said, my eyes softening when I looked at her condition and her hands placed protectively around her baby bump. Brother, Scarlet whimpered, and it was enough to break my heart. Hugging her softly, I wiped her tears before taking a deep breath to calm myself. How the hell did this happen in the first place? Who did it, Scar? Just one name and I will make sure I wipe their entire generation, I said as I held her hand in mine, and she chuckled at me, making me squint my brows. What happened was, I went shopping with one of our security guards, as you already know. Right. After shopping, we were coming back when out of nowhere, a few rogues attacked our car and killed the security guard. I ran from the scene to save my life, but I couldn't run for long. They humiliated me and tried to torture me. They dragged me to the ground and pulled on my hair. I growled, hearing what she had to go through. And she looked at me before sighing. Anyway, I thought I was going to die today. They were going to humiliate me in a way that I can't even describe and threaten to kill my baby. However, at the last moment, a girl came from somewhere and threw silver-laced daggers at the rogues. And before I could even get a hold of what was going on, she killed those 15 rogues in a blink of an eye, leaving one black and blue. Not only that, she even piled their bodies and burnt them. So I don't think you will be able to kill them now. They are already dead, Scarlet said, and I raised my brows before looking at Charles, who shrugged his shoulders. A girl did all of that. Why did she help you? She must have already known you were a princess. What did she ask you for? Jewelry land? Royal support? What is it? I scoffed, and she rolled her eyes at me. I knew you would say that, but that is not the case, brother. She didn't even want to come to the kingdom with me because she doesn't like Lycans. Anyway, you didn't see her fighting, brother. I did. The way she fought the rogues and burnt them, she looked like a walking death goddess. I have never met a werewolf female this cool and strong, Scarlet said with dreamy eyes. And I looked at Charles. She came with Scarlet in her hands, bridal style. I asked her to stay, and that we will compensate her accordingly, and will give her whatever she will ask. However, she denied it. She even said that she helped Scarlet because she was pregnant and was a girl. If it would have been any other Lycan, she wouldn't have even bothered to stop by, Charles said. And I raised my brows, feeling more and more intrigued by this mysterious werewolf. Judging from what Charles said, it looks like she despises Lycans? Or is it a way to catch our attention? Didn't the trickster pack Beta's daughter do the same? That is because Charles insulted her first. She is a prideful girl. In my 40 minutes of meeting her, that is one thing I could grasp easily. I don't know if she is a past offender of rogues or not, but she said something to the only rogue she left alive. She said when someone comes and asks you who did it, tell them it was LJ. Scarlet said, and Charles, who was drinking juice, coughed before looking at me. LJ. She was LJ. Do you even know who she is? I don't know when it started, but in the last month she has killed over 300 rogues alone, Charles said, and Scarlet widened her eyes. Oh my God, how could I not pinpoint it? She is the legendary LJ. Scarlet squealed before sitting childishly. She is an unknown killer with mysterious motives. What is legendary about her? I asked her, feeling strange that she thought a mere killer was legendary rather than her brother, who was a king, and she snapped her head towards me as if offended. You know nothing about her. No one has ever seen her face. There is even a fan page for LJ. She has not only killed 300 rogues, but has saved so many people from the rogues' torture and bullying. Everyone who is saved by her has either seen her side profiles or just her eyes. I am the only one who saw her full face, and not only that, she even carried me bridal style. Scarlet squealed before wincing in pain. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I am having a fangirl moment. I am so stupid. If I had understood this beforehand, I would have definitely sneaked a photo, Scarlet said as she took out her tablet and opened what looked like a social media page. A girl called Turner is the handler of this page. No one knows her either. But look at this. There are 500K followers, and there are even fans in tiers. I am in the 7th tier, Scarlet said, and I rolled my eyes as I looked at the page. A fan page for a killer. Just because her origins are unknown, are people so idle these days? Do you girls really have no brain? Is there any guarantee that this LJ is an individual girl and not an entire organization of them? You said yourself that no one has seen her, yet she made a mistake and let you see her face. Also, this LJ has so many followers. What if this girl who saved you was deliberately using LJ's name to not let other rogues get to her? I asked, and she scoffed. You are just jealous because you couldn't see her, Scarlet said. Me, Kyle. Anyway, did this girl who saved you at least give her name? Or are you just going to assume she is LJ? I asked, looking at Charles, and he nodded. Well, when Scarlet said she wanted to name her child in her name, that girl indeed gave a name. Thea, he said. Thea, what? I asked, and he shrugged, closing my eyes as I was feeling like my patience was running low. I sighed. Since this so-called Thea has the capability of killing so many rogues in a blink of an eye. As Scarlet said, search for this name among all the stronger women's names in all the packs. I said, well, the thing is, she is a rogue herself, Scarlet said, and this time Charles looked at her, amazed. She is. Why the hell didn't I smell the rogue scent on her? He asked, and Scarlet shrugged. I don't know that, but she accidentally confessed this. She is a rogue, but judging from how many shopping bags she had and how elegant she was, I am sure she is filthy rich, Scarlet said, and I took a deep breath. So a girl comes and saves Scarlet from the rogue's torture. I am grateful to her, no doubt. However, this girl tells a rogue to let everyone know LJ killed the rogues. She is a rogue herself, but strangely, she doesn't smell like a rogue. She gave you a name, Thea, which can be Falk too. And she also said, she doesn't like Lycans. She is powerful and mysterious, I said. And both Scarlet and Charles nodded as I summarized everything. And for some reason, this girl is having a fangirl moment. We definitely need to find out more about this girl. She might have come as a boon to us, but we should always be wary of people like her. She can become a curse any time. A rogue who doesn't smell like a rogue. This is her biggest benefit, and she can easily use it for her purpose. What I am confused with is why did she use LJ's name? Is she accommodated with that person? And usually the rogue head would kill and attack the packs even if 10 of his rogues were killed. Why isn't he doing anything to this so-called LJ even when she killed 300 rogues? I asked. Prepare a team who will search for this girl and another team who will look into this LJ. If she really is an individual, then she is indeed walking death. And if a person like this is on our side, it will be of significant benefit. But if the rogue head gets to her before us, he might persuade her into joining him, and it will be lethal to most of the packs. I ordered Charles, and he nodded. You stop fangirling about this so-called LJ and this Thea girl too. From what you have told me, she isn't a wonderful influence. Okay, take care of yourself and your baby. I will come to check up on you soon, I said to Scarlett before kissing her temple, and she sighed before laying back on the bed dejectedly. I am telling you, she is a heroine, she said one last time before turning her back to me, and I rolled my eyes. No woman I have met has been a heroine. If anything, they have proven to be the worst enemies for me. And from my experience, I have learned one thing. Women are more dangerous than men, no matter what. The damage they do stays with a man for years, I scoffed before walking out of the medical room. Taking a deep breath. Thea or LJ, your game is over. I know you saved my sister today, but you shouldn't have disrespected us royals by leaving like this. I chuckled darkly. AN. Please keep supporting. Sophia Turner, what is the meaning of your new post? Didn't I tell you to close this so-called social media page ASAP? I asked Sophia over the phone as I sat in the cab, headed towards the council chambers. Well, I am glad there is still something that can catch your attention and bring you to call me, Sophia said, and I sighed as I looked at the post before smiling. Why would you say something like that? Even if I don't call you guys regularly, I still know what is happening around you. Your baby has kicked recently. No? I asked, and she gasped. Caleb, that traitor. You guys have been talking behind my back, she said, and I chuckled at her way of describing things. Babe, you know I love you a lot, don't you? I asked, and she scoffed. If you love me, then tell me where are you headed? What is your plan? From the last 1.5 months, all I have been hearing about is you killing rogues mercilessly. She took a deep breath before continuing. I know you are a bit vengeful towards the rogues for killing your parents, and now that you don't belong in the pack, you are using it to take your revenge. However, don't you think you are playing with fire? It won't be long before the rogue head will come looking for you, and I know you are powerful and all, but he is a ruthless killer himself, Sophia said, and I smiled. That is the plan. I want the rogue head to come looking for me, because no matter how many links I try to find, or how many times I think I finally got a grip on his core team, I always end up empty-handed. I feel like I am already running low on time, and this rogue head is like the beach sand that is slipping through my fingers, no matter how much I am trying to figure him out. Don't worry about it, Sophia. I will be okay. I promise. Okay, I will go now. Don't call back on this number. Yeah, I know you will throw it away, Sophia said, and I smiled. I love you too. Just be safe. Whenever your head gets any stupid idea to court death, just remember, a couple is waiting in the Callisto pack who only got you, Sophia said, and I ended the call with a sad smile on my face. Throwing away the SIM card, I sighed before inserting another SIM card into the phone, dialing a number. I waited for the person to pick up my phone call as I played with the jade bracelet in my hand. Hello. May I know who this is? The person asked, and I squinted my brows when I recognized that this wasn't the one I wanted to talk to. Hello. Can I talk to Harry White? I asked, and there was a moment of silence on the other side of the call before I heard the voice of the man I was intending to talk to. Harry White, speaking. You are? Hi, Harry. I am sure you haven't forgotten my voice, right? I asked with a smile, and there was a moment of silence before I heard a shaky voice. Amalthea? Harry asked, and I smiled. It looks like my beatings have etched my voice deep inside your bones, and now you won't forget it no matter what. I joked, and he took a shaky breath. Where are you, Amalthea? He asked, and I smiled as I looked at the passing trees. I don't remember how long it has been since I last visited the council chambers. The last I remember was around 5 years ago. At that time, Blake and Harry had gotten into a massive fight because Blake thought Harry was trying to pursue me when he saw him trying to give me mouth-to-mouth breathing, when he was just saving me from drowning in the water. I was blinded by love at that time, and I naturally sided with Blake, even when Harry wasn't at fault. I had seen the look of hurt in his eyes when Blake had made me say to his face that I will never return to the council chambers. Amalthea, are you there? I am asking, where the hell are you? He growled on the phone, and I sighed. I am on my way. On my way to the council chambers to you, I said, and I heard him take a sharp breath before he hummed in response. You, Miss Amalthea, have a lot of explaining to do. I will wait for you. How long will it take? He asked me, and I asked the driver how far was the destination, and he smiled politely before telling me it was still a good 40 to 50 minutes. You heard it, I asked, and he hummed before hanging up the call. It looks like the guy is still mad over what happened in the past, and honestly, who wouldn't? If I were in his place, I would pull all his hair out of his head. Not that I want him to react the same to me. After a ride of an hour since the road was a little bumpy, the cab stopped in front of the large council chambers. Thank you, big brother, I said to the cab driver before paying the fare and was about to move towards the gate when I felt something at the back of my mind, making me close my eyes momentarily. Ed, brother, do you think it is okay to dig here? Are you sure this is the spot where we hid those materials? This is the right place? You know where we are, right? A guy in a black shirt with his back towards me said, Of course, I am sure. This is the map given by the boss. According to all the calculations, this should be the place. Now stop wasting your time and stop talking or else someone will hear us. The other guy said, as a few more guys came with what looked like enormous trunks in their hands. What are they doing here at this time of the night? Brother, I used to think that our higher-ups can never make a mistake, but seeing how they chose such a place to hide our illegal ammunition, I think everyone has a moment of regret. No, the guy said again. It is not a mistake, little one. Our boss deliberately chose this spot. The council members have been making things hard for us and have been looking for our ammunition at different bases, and we suffered a substantial loss because of that. But for the last 3 months, we have started to hide our materials here, and they haven't been able to find out anything about it. They look everywhere, but will they look at their backyard? Besides, they are too arrogant to not have tight security, the other rogue said. Opening my eyes abruptly, I sighed before looking at my watch. Exactly 23 seconds. The time of the visions has been decreasing impressively. I am sure soon there will be a time when I will have a vision while having a chat or eating in the blink of an eye without having any problem. Hey you, the girl in black. What are you doing over there? A security guard shouted at me, and I looked at him before scoffing. It looks like this is the best way to get the council to look into their backyards. I thought before smiling, what am I doing over here? I am here to piss you off, I shouted before showing him my middle finger and throwing a dagger at his feet in a challenging way, making him growl. Guys, there is a hooligan, she-wolf over here, the guy said. And I chuckled at his way of describing me before running towards the backyard. You, stop right there, or we will shoot, The guard shouted at me, and I scoffed, closing my eyes as I ran, trying to locate the voice of the rogues. Brother, I hear some shouting. Are we in trouble? Don't worry about it. They won't come here. Might be someone else. This is an everyday thing here. He is right. Don't worry now. I will give you sufficient time to worry. This might be an everyday thing here, but today it is to catch you guys and expose your dirty deeds. Smirking at the voices, I looked behind before dodging the dagger that they shot at me. Come on. Seriously, is this how they really stop an offender? I thought before, shaking my head at their tactics. You know, you could have just gone inside and informed them about the rogue's whereabouts. Crystal said, and I scoffed. Didn't you hear the rogue? They have been doing this work for 3 months now. Do you really think that the council members are so incapable that they won't check their backyards? They surely have a way to get out of it. I am sure they have been doing things for a long time and are a pro at that. What if they have a mole too? I asked her, and she hummed in reply. The she-wolf over there. If you don't stop, then don't blame me for tearing you into shreds. I heard an arrogant and powerful voice, making me pause for a second. A Lycan! What the heck is a Lycan doing here? Why am I finding Lycans all around these days? Damn my luck. I cursed before running as fast as I could in a crisscross manner to not let them catch me, finally stopping as I finally saw a hint of location from my dream, the Blue Rose Garden. They must be here somewhere. You. The so-called Lycan started again, and I raised my hand in the air without looking back to show him to stop speaking. Sir Rogues. I heard a voice from behind me, and before I could say anything, multiple wolves ran past me, probably to catch the wolves. Call Harry, I said as soon as I turned around, raising my brows when I was met with none other than an angry Lycan who was looking at me as if wanting to kill me. Hello, sir. There is a lunatic she-wolf who came in front of the council chambers. We thought she was an offender, but she somehow helped us catch a large group of rogues with lots of hidden ammunition. She is demanding your presence, the security guard said, and I sighed before leaning on the tree, taking out my phone lazily. You are not a rogue. Don't you know how to bow in front of a Lycan? The Lycan said, and I scoffed before continuing what I was doing. Did you just scoff at me? The Lycan asked, and I looked up, ready to give him a piece of my mind when something, or should I say someone's voice, stopped me. Amalthea Jade. I heard an angry voice from behind the Lycan, and no matter how angry the voice was, I couldn't miss the hint of affection in it. Uncle Chris, I said, and he nodded at the Lycan before coming to me and falling on his knees in front of me, making me widen my eyes. Uncle Chris, what the hell? I asked, shocked before trying to pull him up. Why? It has been 5 years since this goddess came to our humble abode. Shouldn't we be worshipping you? He asked me sarcastically, and I chuckled awkwardly. Don't say anything to her, Dad. If she had considered us her family, then she would have come here the first thing she left the pack, rather than traveling like this. I heard Harry's voice, and before I could greet him, he picked me in his arms, hugging the life out of me. See, can't breathe. I patted his shoulder, and he rolled his eyes before leaving me. Anyway, let's go inside. I didn't know I would have to help you guys the first time I came here after so long. Why are you guys so incapable? I mean, even when the Lycans are involved in the investigation. Disappointing. Seriously, I said before shaking my head and throwing a look at the Lycan, who clenched his fists, saying nothing, nonetheless. Where have you been, and why didn't you come here directly? You could have just told us about the rogues. Why did you risk your life like that? What if the guards or the Lycans would have hunted you down? Harry asked, as he sat on the chair before pulling me between his legs as he held my hands, looking at me with a smile. Even I am interested in this. How did the Lycan, whose name I still don't know, started, but before he could complete his words, I heard a thunderous roar echoing in the air, making me shake a bit as I was taken off guard while Harry held me further close in his arms, almost making me sit on his lap. King Augustus, Is there something that is displeasing you? Uncle Chris asked, and I stiffened in Harry's arms. Hey, I can stand. Don't worry, I am not afraid of those big bad wolves anymore, I said, and he smiled before nodding. Turning my head, I looked at the so-called King Augustus for the first time, my eyes widening slightly as I took in his features. For the beast and ruthless man that he is known to be, wasn't the moon goddess a bit unfair in creating him with such care? Why the hell is he so handsome? I had never thought I would find someone so pleasingly handsome after Blake, but I surprised myself today. Or is it because my heart is done with Blake after his betrayal? I thought, before looking at the guy in front of me, whose eyes were fixated on me, King Augustus. I nodded at him, and he scrunched his brows a bit before evening his expression. I am sure he is trying to think if he remembers a she-wolf like me. Shrugging my shoulders, I looked at the Lycan, who was asking me something earlier. You were saying something? I asked the Lycan, and he looked at King Augustus before looking at me. It is nothing, he said, and I rolled my eyes before turning to Harry. Let's talk about things in the morning. I have traveled a hell lot of distance today. I want to rest. Let's go to your room, I said casually, and was about to hold his hand when I heard another growl from behind me, making me look at the king. What is this guy's problem? Is he pissed that I am leaving before him? King Augustus, if you want to sleep first, you can do so, I said, confused, and he looked at me observantly before shaking his head. It is not that. I am just angry at my subordinate for not completing his question earlier. I think we should hear your explanation of how you found out about the rogue's location when even the council members and the Lycans who had been searching for them for so long couldn't, King Augustus said. And I smiled. I am sorry if it sounds a bit rude, but don't you think this just shows the incompetency of the team that has been looking for the ammunition? I asked, and the Lycan, who was speaking to me earlier, growled at me, making me take a step towards him, but Harry held my hand and pulled me back. I know it must be enraging, but this is the truth indeed. What did you do to find the rogues and the ammunition? Did you tail a rogue? I am sure you must have searched all the head bases because you found some ammunition in the head bases in the past. But do you think the rogues, or should I say, he has been running an organization for more than 6 years? What do you think? I said. And he looked away while Harry just sighed. Metal. That is what is used in the ammunition. No, every ammunition has a manufacturing place too. I forbid myself from thinking the rogues have been creating these ammunitions themselves. You could have started with finding their source, and then concentrated on how and where they are transported. We all know they don't have any authority over any factory. Or is it that you didn't even know that? I asked, and Harry chuckled slowly. That is enough, my little spy. Amy, we got your point, Harry said as he scratched the back of his head, and I smiled. I am glad the things I made to cover up my powers sounded believable. I just hope they don't ask much now. Can I know how you know so many things about rogues? Are you one of them? King Augustus asked me, and I chuckled, feeling a bit nervous. That is something only people dear to me know, and I am not obliged to answer you, King Augustus. With due respect, I said before bowing and taking Harry's hands in mine before nodding at Uncle Chris, who nodded back at me. Miss Amy, I think we started on bad terms, and my subordinate and the rest of the team left a poor impression on you. How about we have a cup of tea? I heard King Augustus say, and I paused in my steps as my stomach also grumbled a bit. Are there going to be snacks? I asked Harry nonchalantly, and he chuckled before pulling my cheeks. Everything you like, he smiled, and I grinned before nodding at the king, whose eyes had a strange sparkle for a second before it vanished. Was it really there, or did I see it wrongly? Well, who cares? I thought before holding Uncle Chris's hand, who was the next father-like figure to me. You have no idea how much I missed you, little Amy, he said, and I smiled sadly. I am sorry for everything I did, I started, and he shook his head. Shh! Let bygones be bygones, okay? He said before ruffling my hair, and I was about to smile back at him. But rather than that, I scowled when I noticed how the Lycan king was looking at us. Well, isn't he a bit too nosy for a king? He is handsome. I like him, Crystal said, and I rolled my eyes. You will fall in love with every handsome man because we don't have true love. Won't you? It's just he is the first guy I have approved as one of the most handsome I have seen. It is nothing new to me, I said. And she sighed dreamily before humming. Are you sure about it? Harry asked me, and I gave him the look before rolling my eyes. We had just started drinking coffee and eating our so-called snacks a few minutes ago when I saw another vision. However, this time, it looked more like something that was about to happen after a few hours. Judging from how the predictions, or what I call visions, are changing like this, these visions have turned me into someone who can predict the future. At the moment, I am already predicting negative things. Maybe in the future I might as well predict the good things. It's just a thought, but what if it really becomes real? Amy, I am asking you if you are sure about it, Harry said again, and I nodded my head. Of course, I am sure about it. I saw it in my vision, I said before coughing, realizing my mistake. I saw it with my eyes. I heard a few rogues talking before I took them down because they were being a little indecent. There is a rogue pact that is going to arrive by the Cantella Lake soon. I think you should deport some of your team there beforehand and catch them. Your prior presence over there will catch them off guard. I shrugged, trying to not mind the fact that this particular king in front of me was watching me like a hawk. Why should we believe you? Should we go ahead with your plan and risk not going to where our highly experienced team told us, just because you helped us catch some common ammunition? The king asked, and I could sense a hint of mockery in his voice. Why is he making it look like I am being arrogant here by suggesting this to them? I thought before sighing, are you seriously mocking me right now? Just after I proved you and your team wrong? I asked, standing, and Harry held my hand, making me scoff inside. If he already thinks I am arrogant, then I might as well give him a reason to think so. No. Busy with my thoughts, I was planning my next words when I heard a loud growl from in front of me, and I scoffed as I realized it was the Lycan King, getting angry. No way, he isn't angry just because of that, right? I have never met him before today, but I guess not only is he arrogant, rude, ruthless, and a cold jerk, he is egoistic and big-headed too. Seriously. You are just getting angry because I am placing my point in front of you. Are you for real? I asked. Amalthea, he is the king, Harry corrected me, as my voice went a little bit louder than I had intended. Massaging the back of my hand, he looked at me with a warning look, and I sighed before nodding at him. He was right. He was the king, and even if the mere fact that we shouldn't speak like this displeases me, I shouldn't show my dissatisfaction when I am their guest, or it might affect the entire council. I think we shouldn't be bothering him. Why don't we go with our plan and prove him wrong? I bet his handsome face will contort when he'll realize he made a mistake. Crystal said. Crystal, you stupid wolf. Even if you think we are the most powerful she-wolf alive on Earth, we still have limited powers. Don't you remember there were over 30 to 40 rogues in my vision? Are you kidding me by asking me to go there by myself? We will be beaten black and blue. However, I can't leave it as it is either. We need their help whether we like it or not. You know these visions. They'll keep bugging me if I don't react to them. I don't know how to control it yet, I said, and she hummed before quietening. Well, I don't think we should just stop from saying our point of view just because he is the king. Anyway, I have a better proposal. Why don't we divide the team into 2 parts and see whose team brings back the bigger bait? I asked while looking at Harry and Chris, who looked thoughtful at my suggestion. How confident are you in your plan? Uncle Chris asked me, and I rolled my eyes. I am 100% more confident than your so-called highly professional and experienced team, I said with a confident smile. And King Augustus looked at me before standing. Fine, I agree with the plan then. Let's go with this. Let's see how true your information is. I am not saying your information is wrong, but it is really bold of you to say your information and Rogue Pack deal secret is far better than what our team collected. Gather the complete team and divide it into two, King Augustus said, and everyone walked out of the room. Taking my wallet and phone, I was about to exit the room when King Augustus bumped into me, and I looked at him to see if he was going to take a step forward or backward, because it was obvious we both can't exit the gate at the same time. Are you not going back? He rather asked me as we got stuck in the gateway while trying to get past each other, and I scoffed. Why should I come back? I was the first one in everything. Be it providing the information or trying to get out of this door, I said. And he tried to get past me by squeezing me further into the door's frame, making me scoff again as I exerted the same amount of pressure back at his side. Are you seriously going to fight me over this? He deadpanned, and I huffed. I know to take my rights. Either you take a step back, or I am going to keep pushing you like this. I came first. I would have let you go earlier, but now that you are being like this, there is no way I am letting you go first. I am not afraid of you because you are some kind of king. You can keep that powerful aura for your other subordinates, I said, and he rolled his eyes. Look, I really didn't want to do this. I was being respectful and courteous. But you have left me with no choice, he said while bending and looking me straight in the eyes. Looking into his eyes, I waited to see what he was about to do. I was ready to retaliate if he was thinking of becoming violent. However, what happened next made me gasp in shock. He smirked at me before doing something that I had never thought he would. He picked me in his arms, making my chest collide with his as I widened my eyes while looking at him. Just, what the hell is this all about? Whoa, where do you think you are touching? I said, as I slightly pushed him before taking a few steps back. Just because you are a king, don't ever think you can get all touchy with me, I said before, walking past him when I saw him standing still. Did you not feel it, Amalthea? I felt different when he touched me. Like, it didn't feel wrong to me, Crystal asked me, and I rolled my eyes. Don't get started, Crystal. Yeah, let's not talk about it, I said in my head, trying my best to suppress her voice and thoughts because I knew exactly what she was talking about. For a moment, the weird sensation that I felt in my body wasn't something I can ignore. When he held me like that, it felt more than just right. It felt like I belonged there with him, and as much as I hate the thought of it, it felt nice too. Wait, where are my thoughts leading me? I can't feel nice because of some random king. Maybe it's because he is a king, and like every she-wolf, my wolf craves power. I thought before sighing. Amalthea, are you coming? I heard Harry's distant voice, and I took a deep breath. Amalthea, stop thinking about useless things. Remember your goal. You need to keep offending these rogues and get a hold of the rogue head so that you can gain information about the rogues who killed your parents. I thought and was about to move ahead when King Augustus walked past me, his hand touching mine, sending shivers down my spine once again. Seeing how King Augustus didn't even stop or looked bothered, I shrugged. Maybe this was indeed an accident and not an intentional thing. Will 20 people be enough for you? Uncle Chris asked me, and I nodded. Let's go. We don't have time to waste, I said to the team, and they looked at me before nodding. Amalthea, do you want me to come with you? I heard Uncle Chris's voice, and I shook my head. You just wait and see your children taking care of such measly things, I said while smiling at Harry, who winked back at me, making me smile, and Uncle Chris chuckled at our interaction. Team, let's go. I said before, walking towards the forest. Wait, you are kidding us, right? Are we seriously walking to the Cantella Lake? A guy suddenly spoke, making me pause and look at him. And that is a problem. You all are trained wolves if I am not wrong. It is just 15 kilometers away from here. Don't tell me you guys can't run till they're in your wolf form, or are you intending on ruining my plans by taking cars there and having their spies know about our arrival? I asked. But won't they see us and get alert if we run in a group of 20? Another guy asked, and I nodded. That is why not all of you are coming with me. Like spies, you guys are going to deport in multiple locations and will cover this entire forest. Only 3 people, the best among you, will come with me to the prime location. Who is the best and trustworthy? And who is not? I will find it myself. So don't worry about it, I said. And one more thing, I know many of you are loyal to the king, and it is no hidden fact that I and your king are against each other in this case. So if any of you thought of ruining my plan, I will kill you without thinking twice. Don't think I am afraid of your king. I ain't afraid of even death or the devil, let alone a mortal, I said before looking at the guys who were looking behind me. Turning around, I came face to face with none other than the king himself, who had a strange, amused look on his face. And I pressed my lips into a thin line. So you are not afraid of me? He asked me as he came closer to me, and I looked him straight in the eyes. Of course not. Didn't you collect that much by now? I asked, and he smirked. Oh, don't worry about that. I caught up more than what you can even think about, he said, as he bent and took a whiff of my scent, his darkening eyes, making me gulp for some reason as I looked at him observantly. His lips only a few inches away from mine. Anyway, I came here to tell you all, no matter what is the matter between me and Miss Amy, she is your leader right now, and you must obey her orders like you would have obeyed mine. I don't want to hear that her plan failed because of disloyalty from my people's side. After all, I want her to give it all so that I can see if she really is that great with her information. Even better than you guys all together, he said before he bent and kissed my ear, making me go stiff as I looked at him. Shocked. All the best, Amy. This is the first time I am intrigued by something, and I would like to see the end of it. Maybe I'll even reward you with a position as my main spy if you are that great at finding information, he said in my ear, and I scoffed. Who wants your lousy position? I am not here to prove anything to anyone. I am just helping the council because of Harry. Besides, it is fun. Killing rogues and ruining their plans is my new past activity these days, so challenging you is just a cherry on top of ice cream. I hope you understand, I said before turning around and looking at the team. Let's go, team, I said as we ran into the forest. Hey, leader, are you not going to change? Everyone is changing in their wolves, one of the guys asked, and I smiled before shaking my head. I have trained myself to run long distances. Besides, I am not exactly in a hurry, I said, as I saw everyone changing into their wolves, one by one. You lazy wolf, because of you, I have to lie, I said to Crystal, and she just hummed. I don't see how this is a lie. Haven't you trained yourself to run long distances? I mean, you are getting better at combat because I am not transforming. So this is a good thing too, right? Crystal reasoned with a cheerful voice, and I rolled my eyes. Running along with the guys, I stopped, making them stop along with me. You, the two near that tree, and you stop here and spread, I ordered, making them nod. And the wolves ran in other directions. Simultaneously, I asked the other wolves to stop in random directions, before finally stopping. Listen to me carefully now. Cantella Lake is 3 kilometers away. It is nighttime. You can brilliantly use it. I know that smell is the wolf's prime power, and they will sense you after some distance, but it is limited to a distance. We can't let them know about us before that. Yeah, I said. Leader, behind you. one guy shouted, and I dodged just in time as I saw a dagger being thrown my way. I turned towards the 4 rogues, who changed into 4 brown wolves in front of me, looking at the 4 wolves baring their teeth at me. I tilted my head, looking them straight in the eyes, taking a step forward as I kept looking at them. They don't even know what a mistake they have made by coming at me in their wolf form. This is another power, or that is what I think it is. If I concentrate hard and look into the wolves of others, especially the weak ones, I can calm down those wolves. Are you going to attack me? Why? I didn't even do anything to you, I said, as I stepped towards them cautiously. Is she mad? What is she doing, walking towards them with no weapons or any defensive stance? I heard one guy behind me say, I don't know. Okay, the council trusts her. Maybe she isn't as simple as she looks, the other guy said. And I kept looking at those wolves. If you are going to come at me, then I will have to kill you, and let me tell you, I am a nasty killer. Why don't you leave quietly? I promise you no harm if you do nothing, and leave in peace. And yeah, don't snitch about us to your other friends. Let's not make a mess. Yeah, forget what happened just now and leave, I said to the rogues as I walked in front of them, and they whimpered before tucking their tails between their legs and leaving. Whoa, what in the actual hell was that? Did she do what I think she did? What did she do? Did the rogues leave the place just because she asked them to? Wait, do you think she is one of them and is deliberately decreasing the strength of our team by not letting the entire team go with the king? This can be a possibility. Maybe that is why she let us catch those few rogues and ammunition, because she had a bigger motive. Do you think I should inform the king about this? I heard them talking behind me, and I stopped in my tracks, not sure anymore. Wait, why the hell did I do that? How can I act so impulsively stupid when I am not alone? I should have fought them rather than doing things like this. Anybody is bound to be suspicious if someone does what I did right now. How am I going to explain this to them if they demand answers? And how will I fight those rogues if they don't trust me? I thought before biting my lips, trying to think of any excuse that I can use right now. However, is there really an excuse to cover why a bunch of rogues calmly listened to me and left? Wait. They have stopped talking, haven't they? What if they are not thinking about it anymore? It looks like I can stop thinking about an excuse and concentrate on the plan to get over these rogues instead. Did you just ask those bunch of jerks to go like they were some puppies? And they actually left? I heard the familiar deep voice, and this time the hair on my neck stood as I felt his presence right behind me. So this was the reason everyone stopped talking. Just now. Well, aren't they just some dirty puppies? I asked, and he smiled coldly at me before gripping my chin. Even I know that, sweetheart. I want to know why those puppies agreed to your words, he said. And I smirked. That is because I am really a nasty killer with a reputation, honey, I said with the same intensity, deliberately using the word honey as he called me sweetheart. And he looked at me observantly for some time before releasing my chin and standing straight. You keep defying me and challenging my authority. It has been only 2 hours since I met you, but for some reason, you have intrigued me more than anyone I have ever known, he said, and I scoffed. Well, I am honored. Anyway, as far as I remember, we went on different missions. What are you doing here, Mr. Dominic? I asked. And the others who had changed back into their human forms gasped loudly. Mr. Dominic, I like the sound of it. However, I will like it more if you scream that word for me, he whispered in my ears before winking at me and standing straight while I stood frozen in my spot. Did he just say what I think he said? I thought before looking at him accusingly. However, seeing the serious expression back on his face, I sighed angrily. Keeping the matter aside for now, I will talk about this later. This is not important right now. Right now I need to catch that large rogue pack, which might take me closer to the rogue head.